Hi guys, and welcome to your first lesson of the week this week. And we're actually, this lesson, finishing off the unit of work that you did last week, all about saving the planet and saving the whales. I've had some fascinating conversations with some of you through the week about this subject, and I know some of you feel very strongly about it. And I hope that this afternoon some of you will log into Miss Emmanuel's call that she's going to do, all about the eco warriors in school, and hopefully this little unit maybe inspired you to get involved in some of that, because it runs quite nicely with it. Tomorrow we're going to do something completely different. So this is our final lesson. It says there at the top, I can publish my letter of complaint, because that's what we're doing now. We're publishing it, we're finishing off the unit, we're exhibiting our writing. So it says, last week you drafted your letters of complaints. You will have had an introduction paragraph to explain what you are writing about, and then you'll have gone into maybe 3 or 4 arguments. So you might have gone into about the plastic pollution, where you definitely would have talked about the plastic pollution. That was the main point, explaining to humans all about the oceans and what's happened to the oceans. And then you will have extra arguments as well, other things that affect whales in particular. So you may have written something about whaling, perhaps something to do with collisions with ships and tankers, and perhaps something to do with global warming. And you drafted those out on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday last week. As well as that, you did your ending paragraphs where you make a plea to the humans and thanking them for reading before signing it off. I have got, and I've put together for you, a quick, just as a reminder, the waggle we used last week about deforestation, I've put that as a scaffold just to remind you of what you did, with the key to success, with what goes with each part. But you will have that all written out in your books from the lessons you did last week. Okay. I'll also put into Teams that fact sheet that we had with all of the facts about whales, if you want to refer back to that in case you want to input anything else into it. Now, publishing means it's creating that final version, the perfected version, the polished version. And in terms of that, what do you need to do? Well, you need to make improvements, and improvements are made through proofreading or editing and changing or adding bits in. And then it's also within the final final presentation of it. So it's either, if you're doing it word process, maybe making the edits and improvements, then adding some pictures in and putting a border on it in different ways. Or if you're doing it by hand, maybe a drawing in the corner or some sort of heading or something. It's the chance to own your work and be really proud of it and be proud of that final finished product that's perfected in terms of the writing, but also in the way it looks as well. Okay. To start off with, we'll do a little proofreading activity just to remind you what proofreading is. Well, proofreading is looking for spellings, missing punctuation, missing words, verb tenses being wrong. It's all those sort of basic silly mistakes we make when we're drafting out our writing for the first time, that are completely understandable, because when you draft for the first time, you're also trying to think of the ideas. So you do make little mistakes as you go along. So first task I want you to do, let's have a look at this extract here, and I think there are about 10 mistakes in it, just silly little mistakes like whether it's a spelling or a missing punctuation or a missing word. Have a go at seeing if you can spot all 10 mistakes. Pause the video now, have a look, and then I'll go through the answers for you. Okay, hopefully you've had a go at that, and hopefully you can see some of those basic mistakes. So here's some of the things that were in it. Well, missing capital I is a common one. Start there, so it should be a capital I. That's some spellings. Obviously, this one not sounding the word out correctly. It's devastating. So it's the devastating, 4 syllables, whereas here devastating, obviously just 3 syllables. So seeing those mistakes, sounding out words, looking for spelling patterns. The next mistake, if you followed it through, I would like to make you aware of the devastating impact plastic pollution is having upon our whale community. Do you fully understand the dangers of plastic in the ocean? Well, that's the end of the sentence there, and this is a new part, a new sentence in itself. So you need a capital letter and a full stop. Okay, and it's not actually a sentence. This one is the other one you'd spot. It should be a question. Do you fully understand the dangers of plastic in the ocean? So it's not a full stop, it's a question mark. So common mistakes there, missing full stops, putting a full stop when it should be a question mark, things like that. Then the next bit, the truth is we, the whales, ingest plastic. Nothing wrong with that. Not some purpose, of course, but by accident. Nothing wrong with that. The plastic gets stored in our stomachs. It's the verb tense isn't quite right there. The plastic gets stored in our stomachs. And because it doesn't decompose, missing apostrophes, doesn't decompose, the plastic builds up day by day. And again, here we've got this missing full stop. The plastic builds up day by day. There has been numerous cases. This is a new sentence completely, and it gets very confusing without the punctuation. So full stop, capital letter. There has been numerous cases of my friends, common spelling mistake. I before E except after C. Friends is spelled that way. Family members beaching themselves, not themselves, due to sickness. The sickness is caused by the buildup of plastic in their stomach, and we've got another full stop mistake there. So those are the sorts of things you should be doing in your work as you're beginning to publish, is reading through it, checking for basic mistakes, whether that's spellings, missing punctuation, missing words, the verb tense not being quite right, stored instead of store, and things like that. Okay. The next thing I want to look at is how you edit and improve. So that was to do with proofreading. Now, and then the other part of improving our writing is trying to make it better. So not just correcting it, but making additions to it. So it could be through word choices, looking for synonyms, changing words, using the word processor, or using the thesaurus, or using Google to look for synonyms on the thesaurus. Or if maybe it's a word that you repeat quite a lot through it, as you notice you read back your drafts. It might be adding in sentences. I think for lots of you, you've drafted out your main points, but you'll also have other things you want to add in now that you've got your basic ideas. And then checking for repetition, which I've referred to before. So if I was looking at this one here, if I want to improve it now, this has been corrected. I've proofread it. I've made punctuations improved, the spellings are improved, there's no missing words, things like that. However, I'm going to see if I can now improve what I'm doing. So it says, first of all, I would like to make you aware of the devastating impacts plastic pollution is having upon our whale community. My first thought here is there any words I can add in to improve this? So I actually think I can make this more powerful. First of all, I'd like to make you aware of the utterly devastating, so that adds to it there, utterly devastating impact plastic pollution is having upon our whale community and marine life as a whole. Okay, so it's not just to do with whales, it's to do with marine life as a whole. So I've improved that sentence instantly. Do you understand the dangers of plastic pollution? So I've got a rhetorical question. I'm quite happy with that rhetorical question. I'm actually looking at thinking, it's quite nice to repeat, use repetition with rhetorical questions. So I'm going to say, do you understand the danger of plastic pollution in the ocean? Are you aware of the various threats that are posed to us because of the build-up of plastic? So just simply by adding another rhetorical question, I've improved my writing. And I just read that back to make sure it makes sense. Do you understand the danger of plastic in the ocean? Are you aware of the various threats that are posed to us because of the buildup of plastic? The truth is, we, the whales, ingest plastic. The truth is, we, the whales, I'm going to add to that, as well as many other creatures, ingest plastic. Okay, so that's added to that. Not on purpose, of course, but by accident. I'm actually going to speak to the reader directly here. We don't like the taste of plastic. I mean, would you? And sort of speak directly to them and change that to colour. So now I'm adding in little bits that make this slightly more interesting to read. The plastic gets stored. Would you? I'm going to change it from the plastic gets stored. This dash the plastic, that is, gets stored in our stomachs, and because it doesn't decompose, and I'm actually going to change doesn't to does not because I think it will sound better. Because it does not decompose, the plastic builds up day by day. Or the plastic builds up, and improve that, hour by hour, day by day, week by week. Exclamation mark, make it sound more passionate and emotive. There has been numerous cases of my friends and family members beaching themselves due to sickness. I'm going to add in an opener here, some sort of adverbial. So unfortunately, comma, change that. There has been numerous cases of my friends and family members beaching themselves due to sickness. The sickness is caused by the buildup of plastic in their stomach. Can you imagine having to suffer such a terrible demise? Okay, so you could see by just going through it bit by bit and thinking about how I can add in words or add in sentences or add in or change words or add in a sentence opener, that you can make lots and lots of additions to your writing. And you can do that as you publish, because you've got your draft written out and now you're going to create your final copy. So publishing isn't about just rewriting the same draft but in your nice handwriting. It is about trying to make it look nicer and maybe taking what you've got and maybe doing your best handwriting with it and putting a nice picture on the background or doing a nice heading. That is part of it. But a big part of publishing is to improve on what you've done already. And I know I say this to you all the time in school, but the greatest authors didn't write everything out in their first draft. And I know I've shown lots of you the first drafts of the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling, and it's actually just lots of notes and scribbles that J.K. Rowling has written out, and then she's edited and improved, not just like once like we're doing here, but like numerous times until she got that final published version. So your published version should be an improvement. What in one way, proofreading and checking for basic errors, and in other ways, adding in words, adding in sentences, to make it a much more interesting and engaging piece of writing. Okay, and I'm sure you'll do that really, really well. In terms of how you can publish it, this is just a couple of examples from last year of the final published Some of the Children in School, and what I'm going to put together for you is a page with some pictures that if you've got a printer, you're more than welcome to print off and cut out, and like they've done here. Or, as you can see here, actually like the little drawings, the clip art whales and things like that, they're quite easy to draw, or at least I'm not the best artist in the world, but I could give it a go. And you can see there for Kiwi the whale, we've got a little whale drawn there. So that's ways you could publish it. However, you can see the title on that one, Save Our Oceans, with the drips around it. I quite like that. That's one way you can publish, but actually, and this is one of the advantages of home learning, there's numerous ways you can publish at home now. You can be really, really creative. I've just put there a couple of examples of a few pieces of work that have been handed in over the last couple of weeks, and you can see just the variety and individuality to the pieces of work there and the way they've done them. So do it how you want to do it, and I'm putting here publishing, the freedom is yours. Be creative, impress us. Me and Miss Withers have been blown away by some of the work that's been sent in terms of your individuality and creativity and your desire to sort of do it in a way that appeals to you and the pride you take in it. And I've been showing it to Mr. Martin and also to sort of other schools across our trust, sort of saying, look how fantastic some of this work we've had and sent in from the children at home. And it could be computer processed, it could have images, it could have borders, it could be written out on a PowerPoint, paragraph by paragraph on different slides, something like that. I really want you to go for it in whatever way appeals to you. It could be written out with drawings or maybe a double page spread, or quite simply, if I'm being perfectly honest, I do quite like sometimes just a very, very nice, neat piece of writing that's set out very clearly. It might have a little image on it, but just the care and attention and the improvements make it look brilliant. Ownership, as in you're in charge. Pride, creativity, and being you. Lots of our school values here, and I know you'll continue to blow me away when we get the work back from you. I have put together a little scaffold sheet just to remind you of the structure. However, you have done this already because you've drafted it out, but just to remind you how it should look in terms of the opening, what should be included in the opening, the main arguments. So ours would do with plastic pollution, whaling, collision with ships and tankers, and what should be in there. And then your ending, how that would look, so you can look back at the waggle and just check that your version is of a similar structure but also much improved on the waggle as such, and then signing it off correctly at the bottom. Proofread, edit, improve as you publish, and present it in an attractive way that you are proud of. As a stretch, and I spoke to some of you through this, maybe when you finish this, maybe, and if you're interested, I'd really like to hear this, is I spoke to a few children about this piece is quite passionate. And as a whale, you'll be quite angry with the humans. So when you deliver it, you'll deliver it in a certain way. And I know some of you love acting and being actresses or actors. Maybe you could record yourself delivering the letter of complaint with a passionate and emotive delivery. And that could just be a voice recording. And you could try and send that in to us. We'd love to hear it. Or if you're feeling really, really creative, I wonder if you could make some sort of video, maybe on iMovie or something, if you've got an app like something like that. To go with your recording, so it's you speaking over the top of it with like images to go with it. I'm going to leave that as a bit of a stretch that you could get really creative with if you're feeling really passionate about this, and then it'd be lovely to hear some of you read aloud your pieces and send those in to go with your writing. And I've actually put a link here to a video clip of the children year 6 last year who did the same unit. You might just find it interesting to look at. Because what that is, it's a little video that I put together last year with the children. They did the same unit as you, all about plastic pollution. There they are writing it, and then some of their published versions at the end. But some of theirs look quite similar in terms of the way they've set it out. So I think you guys might be a little bit more individual, and it'd be interesting to see what you come up with. But it might just give you some ideas, or it might just be something you just want to watch and find interesting to have a look at. I'll put that on there for you. And on that video as well, some of the children actually recorded speaking over the top of the video, so you can listen to them deliver it. All right, guys, you're really good at publishing. I know we always get really excited in school when we get to this point of the writing journey, creating our final piece. This is the crescendo, the finish, and we want something to be really delighted with, really pleased with. I'm going to ask you to submit this piece for us, so make sure you either put it in a private chat message or in share your work or email it to us. And if you decide to do the stretch as well, make sure you send that across to us, because it would be great to hear some of them. All right, guys, have lots of fun with it. The drafts I've seen people writing so far have had some great ideas in them, so I cannot wait to see your final versions. See you later. Bye.